Few films in history have had the impact of The Godfather. It's not just a movie. It's a cultural phenomenon, a filmmaking masterclass, and a story that has shaped generations of cinema. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola and adapted from Mario Puzo's best-selling novel, The Godfather redefined the gangster genre. It wasn't about flashy shootouts or mindless violence. It was about family, loyalty, power, and the dark cost of ambition. But here's the thing. Even though it's one of the most studied and celebrated films ever made, there are still so many fascinating stories and secrets hidden behind the scenes. From controversial casting battles and tense studio politics to iconic scenes that almost never happened. Today, we're breaking down 7 things you didn't know about The Godfather. So grab your cannoli, dim the lights, and let's step inside the Corleone family business. 1. The Godfather is literally dark. When people talk about The Godfather, they often mention its dark tone. But it's not just the subject matter. The film is visually dark. The interiors, especially scenes with Marlon Brando, are drenched in shadows. That wasn't by accident. Cinematographer Gordon Willis, who earned the nickname the Prince of Darkness, intentionally used minimal lighting to create mood. But here's the twist. It wasn't only about artistry. It was also practical. The low lighting helped hide the heavy prosthetics Marlon Brando wore every single day. Brando spent up to 3 hours in the makeup chair each morning. They reshaped his jaw with prosthetics, added cotton and dental pieces, and transformed him into the aging Don Corleone. James Caan even wore dental work to make his teeth sharper, though most viewers never noticed. These subtle choices combined to create a world that felt authentic, gritty, and unforgettable. 2. Even the cars told a story. It wasn't just the characters or lighting that sold the illusion. The Godfather got the details of the 1940s just right. Take the cars. Did you notice some of them had wooden bumpers? That wasn't a mistake or a cheap prop. That was historically accurate. During World War II, Americans were asked to donate their chrome bumpers to support the war effort in their plays. Many people installed wooden bumpers, and those stayed on cars for years after the war ended. Including those details in the movie gave it a subtle layer of realism. It's the kind of thing you might not consciously notice, but it's part of why the film feels like a time machine into another era. 3. It almost wasn't a period piece. Now here's a fact that will blow your mind. The Godfather almost wasn't a period piece at all. Originally, Paramount wanted the movie set in the 1970s. Yep, they wanted a cheap gangster film shot in Kansas with a budget of around $2.5 million. Why? Because the studio was broke at the time, and they thought a gritty, modern-day mob flick would be quicker and cheaper. But Coppola refused. He insisted the story needed to stay in the 1940s, where it belonged. Mario Puzo even tossed out his first draft to match Coppola's vision. Eventually, Paramount caved and increased the budget to $6.5 million, a big gamble for them at the time. And that gamble paid off. Instead of a forgettable low-budget gangster flick, they got a timeless masterpiece. For Coppola was nearly fired constantly. You might think Francis Ford Coppola, as a director, had full creative control. Not even close. In fact, he was as close to being fired almost every week of production. The studio didn't trust him. They didn't want Marlon Brando as Don Corleone. They thought Brando was washed up and difficult to work with. So Coppola went to Brando's home, shot a quick screen test, and proved beyond a doubt that Brando was perfect for the role. That test changed everything. They also didn't want Al Pacino as Michael. Paramount pushed hard for Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, or even Martin Sheen. James Caan even read for Michael before being cast as Sonny. But Coppola fought tooth and nail for Pacino, refusing to back down. On top of that, the studio constantly accused Coppola of going over budget and wasting time. To protect his job, he added action scenes the studio wanted, like the famous fight in the street, and even fired his assistant director, who he believed was bad-mouthing him to Paramount. Despite all the chaos, Coppola not only kept his job, but finished the movie ahead of schedule and under budget. And as if that wasn't enough, during all this drama, he also won an Oscar for co-writing Patton. Talk about multitasking. 5. Mama Corleone wasn't really old enough. Morgana King, who played Mama Corleone, was a talented jazz singer, but she wasn't much older than her children. She was only 10 years older than James Caan and Al Pacino, and just 5 years older than John Cazale, who played Fredo. So, technically, Mama Corleone could barely pass as her older sister, let alone their mother. But hey, that's Hollywood casting for you. 6. George Lucas helped shape the movie. Before Star Wars, George Lucas worked on The Godfather. Coppola and Lucas were longtime friends, and Lucas stepped in as an uncredited assistant on the film. His biggest contribution? The crime montage. Lucas pieced it together using real crime scene photos to give it authenticity. He also saved one of the movie's most suspenseful moments. During the hospital assassination attempt, Coppola didn't have enough footage of the hallways. Lucas suggested reusing shots of empty hallways after actors had left the frame. It was a simple trick, but it created a haunting, unforgettable moment of dread. Without Lucas, that scene might not have worked at all. 7. The orange myth isn't true. One of the most famous fan theories about The Godfather is that oranges foreshadow death. And sure enough, whenever a character is seen with oranges, bad things usually follow. But here's the truth. It was a total coincidence. The production designer added oranges to brighten up otherwise dull sets. The symbolism only emerged later when fans started connecting the dots. So no, Coppola didn't secretly plan an orange-coded death warning system. But hey, it makes for a great piece of movie trivia. Bonus: Sofia Coppola's baptism cameo. One last bonus. Remember the baby in the baptism scene? That was Coppola's daughter, Sofia Coppola. She'd later return to the series in The Godfather Part 3 in a much larger role. Talk about starting your film career young. And there you have it. 7 surprising things you didn't know about The Godfather. From casting battles and behind-the-scenes sabotage to George Lucas sneaking in before Star Wars, the making of this movie was almost as dramatic as the film itself. So, which of these facts shocked you the most? Did you already know about the oranges? Or the fact that Paramount wanted the movie set in Kansas? Let us know in the comments below. And if you'd like a Part 2, covering even more hidden details about The Godfather Part 2, hit that like button and tell us. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell icon, and join us next time as we uncover more hidden stories from the world of cinema. And remember, leave the gun, take the cannoli.